All right, so we have a 9 by 18 piece of fabric, and we pinked the edges here so it won't ravel. And we're gonna fold a seam on each side. I don't know how you're supposed to do this, so if somebody's watching and they're like, why is he doing it like that? I don't know, because I'm making it up as I go
We're
along.
the sous chefs. Tania's, we're her sewing sous chefs.
All right, so I do that, and then the other side. Flip it around because I'm that handed. All right, then we're gonna flip the whole thing over because we're gonna make a couple of pockets. One little top pocket here. And you'll notice I'm not measuring because I don't know how big this is. It doesn't actually matter. That burned my finger a little bit. And then bottom pocket here. And a lot of times they overlap in the middle. I think it's because I don't know how to iron seams, but that's okay. And this is ready to go to the executive chef to sew up the sides.
So when Dad hands it to me, it's like this. First thing you're gonna do is you are gonna sew down both of these pressed edges right here. So you just kind of unfold that real quick. And then the stitch length doesn't matter, just as long as you're getting it so it stays together. So you're gonna sew down this right here.
And then do the same with the other. Okay.
So then once you've sewn both edges down, it'll look something like this. So that's when you line it back up with the creases that you made when you ironed it, and you sew down the sides. So like you'd sew down this
Just
way.
like a regular seam allowance.
Exactly. Like I've been using like 1/4 inch right to the edge of my presser foot, but you can use pretty much anything.
All right. So what does it look like now?
So now it's just like this little pocket. Kind of looks like a jean pocket a little bit, and it has like a little top pocket right here
Okay.
and a bottom right here.
All right, so now we're gonna turn these into the pockets that I promised earlier by just turning the whole thing inside out. And then we're gonna use a chopstick to pop out these corners. And then we'll press it once we get them popped out. So once we have the corners, we're just gonna press the whole thing into these pockets here. So it kind of looks like a purse.
All right. Next, we're doing the pleats.
All right, so the pleats, we're gonna put 3/4 inch pleats in here. So you take your pocket, you put it face down, and you start from the bottom, and you fold the bottom up 3/4 inches from the top, like that. And press that. Ooh, almost took one out. And then we're going to do the opposite here. Fold down from the top to right about 3/4 inches. It's not exact, but it doesn't need to be because we're starting in the middle, so it all kind of works itself out. So we'll press that. So that turns into our first pleat. Now, trust me, we're going to fold this down to meet the pleat from the top. We're going to flip it over and do the same thing. Fold this up to meet that pleat right there. It'll be
This is very
embarrassing.
tricky.
It'll be embarrassing if this doesn't work, because I spent like 3 hours trying to figure this process out this morning. Okay, you can kind of press the whole thing because all of those lines are necessary. All right, so now I didn't have to flip that over. Let's see. So now we're going to there's our top pleat. And then we have to flip that. Our bottom pleat, like that. And again, it's just kind of all estimated. And then once you have it pressed, like it's not yet, then you can take these clips.
You could also pin it if you didn't have clips.
Yeah. And because Nia says if you don't have the clips, it just slides all over the place when you try to sew it. So there's one side. There's the other.
There you go.
All right.
So now we're ready to sew the pleats.
Yes.
Okay, so here we are sewing it. I'm just gonna line it up with about a 1/4 inch seam allowance again, and just start sewing it basically as I go along. I'm going to take the clips out. They're pretty easy to take out, which is nice. And then just sew on. You have to go really slow because there's so much fabric in there that it'll mess up super easily. So you're just gonna sew along down. And you'll do that on both sides to get those pleats locked in.
Okay, so here's the second side. See it now? So
now-
basically it's just ready for our tie, the ties, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's a little pocket in the back, and that's where you can stick a filter.
Gotta clip the strings.
Okay, now we're gonna work on ties.
Right, so this process was perfected by Gwen, but she doesn't want to be on video. So I am going to demonstrate. So we're using a t-shirt here that doesn't have a seam. So that
Side
it
seam, yeah.
doesn't have a side seam so that it'll be long enough. And I already trimmed off the bottom. So we're just taking 1-inch strips off the shirt.
Okay, do one more.
Do one more?
Yeah, and then we'll measure it out.
Okay. Oh, because we need 2 of them. That makes sense. See? She really did perfect this process. All right, so we've got our 2. They end up, well, I'm an idiot. That one worked. There we go.
So we gotta measure out 24 inches.
All right, so I'm assuming I can just snip
Yep,
it. So we'll take these giant scissors.
shears.
You say tomato. And we'll do 24 inches for this one. Unfortunately, we can't get 2 out of 1 piece.
Not this size shirt. I know.
Your mileage may vary depending on how big your shirts are. So do another 24 inches here.
Okay, now you take it and you're gonna just stretch it out.
Grab the ends and stretch. 1 and stretch the other. What do I do next?
Then you put a little knot on each of the ends.
Tie a little knot.
You get the point.
Yep.
Let's see.
It's all good.
Okay, so next you're gonna have 2 of your ties. We used a different blue fabric because it goes better with this mask that we're using. And so you find the middle of it, and you kind of find the middle of your mask, and you just pin it onto the seam that you already sewed. So I'm gonna take a pin and pin right in the middle right here. Then I'm going to try to stretch it a little bit and pin on the end right here. Then stretch it again and pin right here. If you've noticed, I have tried to put like the curled edge down so that it isn't like all curly on the mask itself.
Okay. So then
Now you're gonna do it right on the
do
other
on the
side.
other side, and then we'll come back to sew. All right. So now we're just gonna sew down these seams here.
Yeah, as you're sewing, you're gonna wanna take your pins out, but in a way that it kind of the needle holds the place of the pin. So down like that, and then I'll just grab these scissors, nudge that pin out.
There's one side, and we're gonna do the other. We're just doing the other side now.
And again, sometimes this fabric will give you trouble because there's so much bulk right there. So you just gotta be patient with it and like put the needle in, lift up the presser foot, adjust the fabric, just whatever you can do to make it so it's a little bit easier to get it through.
All right.
And then once we clip our strings, we are all done.
Okay, so the last step is, you'll notice this in the back, it has a pocket. And the pocket is so you can stick a filter in there. And one of the things that I have gone ahead and done is I bought a bunch of vacuum cleaner bags that have HEPA filters, and you can just stick it in there. It's kind of a little tricky to get them in, but kind of just stick it in and then pull it tight on the sides. All right. And then you're ready to go. Okay, obviously I changed fabric so we didn't put mouth all over one of the ones we're making for someone else. But then it just fits kind of like this, turn around, and you just tie the straps in the back. The fabric here, using the jersey fabric, it's super comfy. It's better than the elastics. And then other than it being hot, how does it feel?
It feels good. It even fits under my beard.
Yep, there you go. And you're all set to go.